Hello, hello. I hope everybody's doing amazing this morning. Hello, Trini. Good morning, gorgeous. How you doing? How's everybody doing? When you jump on, say hello in the comments. So good to see everybody. Good morning, Angelique. Actually, it's good afternoon because it's the afternoon. Hello. Yay, good afternoon, Sarah. Oh, you know what? I'm sitting on... Okay. You guys, I'm agitated this morning. I am just having... It's an off day. It's an off day. You love my fashion. Thank you, sis. Good morning, Ash. Hi, everybody. Let me just pull this a little bit closer. You know how you have days where you're just like, it's an off day? It feels like an off day for me. So this will help. It's just wonky. Everything feels wonky this morning. I woke up really early. I did a bunch of work and then I looked at my watch or my phone or whatever. And I was like, man, it's only like 9. You know what's different? You know what's different? That I'm coming on at noon instead of 9:30. And it's really shifting my whole schedule. And it's throwing me for a little bit of a loop, so I have to get used to it. I actually just figured that out. Good afternoon, Robin. You like my outfit? Thank you. So these Uncommon Woman hats, you can actually, these are for sale. You can get an Uncommon Woman hat, but I don't know if the green ones are on the link tree. If they are, you can order one. I love these because they have the full logo on them. Aren't they fun? I always love military green. It's a thing. Welcome, everybody. Thank you for being here. Thank you for joining. I love you. I love you. I love you. Good morning. Good afternoon, Dee. Good morning. Good afternoon. All the things. And I don't have music behind me. I mean, you guys, I'm all thrown off. So I'm actually thinking about taking tomorrow as a break day. I think I need to get recalibrated. I need a day. Can I take tomorrow as a little break day? I think I need a day to recalibrate, to get everything organized, because here's what happened, right? I was in Atlanta, Georgia. Now, what's it asking me to do? Why is it asking me to do that? I was in Atlanta, Georgia and I was away for almost 2 weeks. And then last week, I felt like I had a spiritual hangover. I felt like I'd been hit by a bus. It was a good week, but I was a little bit freaked out after being away and after being at the conference. And then this weekend, I had a really busy weekend and I feel like I need to get my feet on the ground. So I think I might take tomorrow off. So let's just say no live tomorrow. Okay, let's just take a breather. And what I'd like you to do is maybe go back and watch the recordings from these, because we've been talking about ascension and discernment and boundaries and stepping into your power for the entire month of July. So I think I'm going to take a break. I used to have those days, sis. I now wake up and go do stretches, meditation, and prayer before I start my day. It really helps. You could try that because I know so. I do all of that stuff. I'm not doing stretching. Normally I work out. I get moving. But I think I need a day in the middle of the week and not on a weekend to get my schedule straight. Because the 12 o'clock shift is a really big change. So let's just say tomorrow we're going to take a breather. I'm going to recalibrate and I'll be back on Thursday. Okay, so no live tomorrow, and my Uncommon hosts can have a day as well to just get reset. How does that sound? Because you guys, we've been going through a lot of content. It's been really powerful. So make sure that you tag people in the comments, share this out, do what you need. Important to listen to your body. Exactly. Like I'm just really feeling like I need a bridge, right? So tomorrow's going to be a bridge. But today we are going to come back in and we're going to resume our conversation about ascension. So this entire month, we've been talking about our ascension. We've been talking about growth. We've been talking about impact. We've been talking about moving from where we are to where we're going to be. So what I'd love to see, hey Tabitha, what I'd love to see is for you to, in the comments, share something that's really standing out for you right now. Share something that is showing up for you, that's standing out for you. It could be something that I've said. It could be something that you're feeling. It could be something, a question, because I thought maybe what we could do today is I have a really powerful lesson for you. And then I thought maybe what we could do, something's floating in my water. Maybe what we could do then is do a little Q&A. If anybody has any questions, like I could do some hot seat coaching where you put a question in the comments and then I can come back in and answer it. Kind of weird, this isn't showing on your page. Well, this is on my personal, so this is on my personal page, right? Here, let me just go really quickly. And so it's definitely showing on my personal page, but let me just double check. Let me just check here. I'm just checking, 1, 2, 3, checking. Share, like I said, share in the comments. Oh, it keeps going to crush, 1 sec. Anything that you've been experiencing or feeling recently that that is standing out for you. Yeah, it's showing up on my personal page for sure. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to share this over. I'm going to share this over to my page. How come it's not letting me do that? You guys, this is why I need a rest. Ask me a question or share with me something that you've been experiencing through these lives that you're curious about. All right? Do that. You guys are probably all going to leave because I'm so distracted today. But I'm really not. I have a super powerful message for you, but I'm going to share this over. Realignment. Realignment. Ooh, I love that. So you're realigning right now. What are you realigning to? Okay, here we go. Uncommon ministry. Okay, there. I shared it. There we go. Been feeling overwhelmed lately. Okay, so Tabitha says, I've been feeling overwhelmed lately. I have been reading scripture more and even my kids are learning too. That's powerful. Hello, Dimitri. So it's not uncommon, speaking of uncommon ministry, it's not uncommon for us to feel some overwhelm or to feel some heaviness or discomfort or a little bit of anxiousness. I don't know if it's anxiety, but maybe a little bit anxious when we're going through a big shift. And I've been going through a shift, and I know many of the women are here. Read the energy of me. I am from the other side of the universe. Can you relate with my energy? No, I don't read people's energies. I'm not a witchy witch. That's for sure. So when we're growing, when we're shifting, when we're feeling change, when we're needing change, when we're wanting change, when we're experiencing change, when things are kind of upheaving in our lives, we tend to feel overwhelmed. And I'm going to show you guys something, okay? This is how I know I need a little bit of a break tomorrow. I have, look at my hand. So this finger, do you see that? I'm not standing up. You guys, let's get rid of this guy right here. We don't need that. I don't even know how I can. Robin, go away. Okay, so let me see if I can do something there with that. Of course, now he's on my personal. There we go. Okay. He's gone. We blocked him. So I have on my hand a little bit of what you would call dermatitis or eczema. And it happens to me when I am feeling overwhelmed or when there's lots of stuff going on. It'll show up on my hand. So I'm sharing this with you because if you are feeling any sign, if you're feeling any overwhelm or stress or discomfort, what I'm guessing is it's going to come to you. It's going to be symptomatic. In some way, it'll manifest itself through your body. It'll manifest, you guys, can you hear? I am so off. I can't even speak eloquently. It'll manifest through some kind of a physical symptom. So for me, what happens when I feel this weight, when there's things that are going on, is that it shows me, okay, there. I just blocked that person. It shows me that I need to take a breather because it'll show up on my hands. Okay, see that? And this one finger has been really itchy and really raw for about 3 or 4 days. Does anybody else have that? I loved when you did how to ascend in peace. I love the questions that you had, the discernment asks. Oh, I love that too. Reset for what God really has for my family and myself moving forward. See, this is so good. You guys are paying attention. I love it. All right. So I guess what I was doing was I was answering Tabitha. No, I was answering, was it you, Trini? Somebody was saying something about how you're feeling a little bit overwhelmed. And I just want to share with you that you're not alone, that it's normal, that, yeah, is this on TikTok? Yeah, you're on TikTok. I'm so distracted right now. You guys, it's crazy. That there are times when it will show up for me in really painful ways on my hands. And so that's when I know that I need to actually do something, like take a break, okay? So we have an issue, I think, with this guy. One sec, I'm just gonna see if he's still here. Is he still here? Why do people have to be like this? Let's see. No, he's not there anymore because I blocked him. I think I blocked him. Okay, are we good now? Are we good? I need focus and clarity vibes, Shay. Okay, thank you so much, Tabitha. I love you guys. Okay, I think we're good to go. Here we go. All right. Anyway, I'm just going to take a minute. I'm going to light my candle and we're going to get started. Oh, he's still here. What is the issue? Go away. Okay, I've been trying to get rid of him too. He's just being goofy. I don't even know who he is. That never happens on Facebook, right? We never have that on Facebook. Yeah, I think somebody reported him. He has his page blocked. Of course he does. Okay, you guys, one sec. I have one sec here. Okay. Are we having fun? Are we having fun, you guys? I love that you guys are still here with me, even though it's a hot mess express today. Yeah, we can just ignore them, but it's also really distracting. It is a little bit distracting. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Hi, Bead Wired. Okay. I I think several people have, I love you guys for supporting me. I love you guys. He has his page locked. Of course he does. Trust this computer. Trust. Okay, are we here still? Hi, Amy. I'm glad that you guys have just total faith in me and that you're still here. Okay, I'm lighting my candle. Here we go. And I actually have a really good word for you today. So I'm going to apologize for the last 15 minutes of complete confusion and chaos. Now my candle's not lighting. Here we go. All right, Lord, bring clarity to this conversation. Bring light. Bring eloquence to my words. Support me in this live today. I know that I'm feeling a little bit off. I know that I'm feeling a little bit wonky. So just help me stay clear and focused. Help me get my message to the people who are here and take away all the people who are distracting us and taking away from our message, because we know that that's a lie from the pit of hell and that they are placed here by the darkness in order to keep us from doing good works. So Lord, just be with me over the next little while as I get through this and I serve these people that I love with all my heart, and take the distraction away and help my finger heal. In Jesus' name, amen. Okay, I'm ready. I feel better already. I feel better already. Won't he do it? Won't he do it? Okay, you guys, our scripture for today is John 5, verse 19. Okay? So, get out your little Bibles. We're going to get into it. If you have a pink Bible, it makes you feel better. I love my pink Bibles. I love my candles. I love my pink Bibles. I love all the pretty things. So, we're going to be focusing on what it means to ascend. And this is going to be the last day that we talk about this particular theme. And then we're going to move into what I've got planned for August, but I'm going to talk about it next week. Because next week we're going to focus in on how you ascend personally, how you rise personally, and what you're going to rise into and who you're going to rise into and what it is that you're going to do when you rise. So we're going to start talking about that next week. And then the month of August in the Uncommon Woman Sisterhood, we have a really epic project planned. And the girls don't even know about it yet, but they will. So here's what we're talking about. So in John 5, verse 19, the story behind it, just for a quick recap, is that the man who was sitting at the pool, who hadn't walked in something like his whole life, 38 years. He had been an invalid for 38 years. He's sitting at the side of the pool. So let's all imagine, okay, that we're at like a really nice outdoor pool in our community, or you're at the Hilton or something, and you go out to the pool, and all around the pool under the canopies are all of these people who are sick and they're invalids and they're, struggling in all different ways. And Jesus and his disciples walk into this group of people. And they were in Jerusalem and there were some festivals going on. And so they kind of walked into this group of people, and there was this one man who was sitting by the pool. And he was really downtrodden because everybody was walking over him and everybody was walking around him and getting into the pool first. And he didn't have the opportunity to get into the pool. So I'm just going to read this for you. It's called the healing pool. Okay. This is John chapter 5. It's really short, so maybe I'll read it because I'm not doing a very good job of describing it. It's just one of those days. Sometime later, Jesus went up to Jerusalem for one of the Jewish festivals. Now there is in Jerusalem near the sheep gate a pool, which in Aramaic is called Bethesda, and which is surrounded by 5 covered colonnades. Okay, so you know those coverings? 5 of those coverings are around this pool to keep everybody in the shade. Here, a great number of disabled people used to lie, the blind, the lame, the paralyzed. One who was there had been an invalid for 38 years. When Jesus saw him lying there and learned that he had been in this condition for a long time, he asked him, "Do you want to get well?" This is vital. This part of this story is vital because Jesus doesn't come in and just touch him and walk away and heal him. He actually looks at him and says, "Do you want to get well?" It's just like when we're talking about ascension, or when we're talking about growth, or when we're talking about removing toxic people from our lives. It's not going to work unless we are ready to make the change. The permanent change. It's a permanent change because listen, "Sir," the invalid replied, "I have no one to help me into the pool when the water is stirred. While I'm trying to get in, someone else goes down ahead of me." Then Jesus said to him, "Get up, pick up your mat and walk." You know how much I love this story. At once, the man was cured. He picked up his mat and walked. The day on which this took place was a Sabbath. And so the Jewish leaders said to the man who had been healed, because remember, you're not supposed to work on the Sabbath in the Jewish religion. "It is the Sabbath. The law forbids you to carry your mat." But he replied, "The man who made me well said to me, 'Pick up your mat and walk.'" Now pay attention that the man said, when it comes to what Jesus said to him versus the law, that he was to obey Jesus. So they asked him, "Who is this fellow who told you to pick it up and walk?" The man who was healed had no idea who it was, for Jesus had slipped away into the crowd that was there. Later, Jesus found him at the temple. So he saw, what I love is that this man went to the temple later, probably to pray, right? To sit in gratitude for what had happened to him. And said to him, "See, you are well again. Stop sinning, or something worse may happen to you." The man went away and told the Jewish leaders that it was Jesus who had made him well. So because Jesus was doing these things on the Sabbath, the Jewish leaders began to persecute him. This is when they were looking for reasons to kill Jesus. In his defense, Jesus said to them, "My Father is always at his work to this very day, and I too am working." For this reason, they tried all the more to kill him. Not only was he breaking the Sabbath, but he was even calling God his own Father, making himself equal with God. And this is our scripture. Jesus gave them the answer. "Very truly, I tell you, the Son can do nothing by himself. He can do only what he sees his Father doing, because whatever the Father does, the Son also does." All right, there's a lot there in that story to pull apart, but there are a few things that are worth mentioning. Number one is that when Jesus says, "Get up, pick up your mat and walk," the man does exactly that, even though it's the Sabbath, because he felt the oil that was on Jesus. I mean, if somebody can heal you from being an invalid for 38 years, that person has power. So my question to you is, how has Jesus moved in your life? If he has performed any miracles whatsoever, if he's ever performed a miracle in your life that nobody else could have done, no human could have orchestrated that, no person could have done in your life, whether it's recovery, whether it's saving you or your child, whether it's dropping money into your bank or relieving your heart of grief or showing you the way or giving you the energy and the power and the courage to step out of something terrible to help you through recovery. If you have ever experienced a miracle in your life, why would you listen to anyone else but Jesus? I mean, I could stop right there. I could say, that's enough. That should be enough right there. for us to be obedient, for us to listen to our intuition, because our intuition is the voice of God, for us to do what we know is right and not what we are told to do by the law or by other people. And this is what Jesus means when he says, you should be willing to die for me. Because if we ever are willing to betray him in order to save our pride or to save ourselves, then we're not loyal to him. And that's a tough one, because it's difficult for us to consider that we might lay down our lives for somebody that we've never met. But that's faith. It's so important that in this story we recognize that this invalid had never met Jesus, didn't know who he was. But when he experienced the miracle that Jesus shared with him, he obeyed Jesus over the law. And then he went into the temple, and I wonder if this is considered a betrayal. I guess he didn't know what was happening. But he went into the temple, and Jesus saw him there and said, I see that you're well. Don't sin again. Don't go and live a life of sin, or something worse will happen to you. I love that. Jesus is a little hood here. He's like, now I healed you, but don't go waste that healing and go sin and live a life of sin. Because there were all these other people around the pool that Jesus could have healed, and he chose to heal this guy. And then this guy says to the leaders, it was Jesus who healed me on the Sabbath. It was him. And so then they go after Jesus. And I wonder if that's considered a betrayal. I guess not. Maybe I need to read more. Like I said, I am not an expert in the Bible, but I do love this story. The story is a powerful story. So the reason that we're focusing on John 5 verse 19 is that Jesus says to the leaders, I follow my Father. I do what he does, and I go where he goes. In other words, when it comes to our ascension, when it comes to our growth, when it comes to our rise, we follow God's lead. We don't follow the lead of the people around us. We don't follow the lead of influencers. We don't follow the lead of our coaches and mentors. We don't follow. When it comes to our life purpose, when it comes to our calling, when it comes to the way that we live our lives and our heart's posture, we follow God first and foremost. And it doesn't matter the cost. This is where it gets hard for us, because as humans, we sometimes want to follow the crowd, because following the crowd is a lot easier on earth than following God's lead. Because God's lead isn't always popular. Put a 1 in the comments if you agree that being a child of God, being a follower of Christ, being somebody whose heart posture is postured towards the heavens is not always an easy path. In fact, we know that it's the narrow path. It says in the Bible that it is the narrow way, but it is the right way. So the reason that we're focusing on this particular scripture today, as I move through this lesson, is that I want you to be reminded that your ascension, your calling, your rise needs to be in alignment with what God wants for your life, and not anybody else, and not anything else, including your own free will, including your own desires, including your bucket list. You could have a bucket list of all these things that you want to do, but it's not the intention for you right now. If your bucket list is going to distract you from your calling, you're not supposed to be doing the bucket list. If you want to go on a hot air balloon, but you know that you're being called to work with people in recovery, or do ministry, or get your finances in order so that you can have peace in your heart, so that you can do the things that you want to do in the world. If you want to go on a hot air balloon, but you're being called, you know in your heart it's not the thing for you to do, then you're not supposed to be doing it. That's what this means. This means that we listen to God first. Thank you for the ones. We listen to God first. All right, here we go. So yesterday we talked about your ascension, and these were the 3 points from yesterday. Jesus never called people to stay where they are, right? And this is a perfect example. He said to this guy, get up, pick up your mat and walk. And then the conversation wasn't done yet. He said, now when you move forward in your life, don't do the same thing that you did, or you're going to be back where you were, but worse. That's the same idea as that quote. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing and looking for different results. So if we continue to do the same thing over and over in our lives and we expect different results, if we're dating the same kind of men, if we're spending our money in the same kinds of ways, if we're making the same kinds of decisions, if we're hanging out with the same kinds of people, if we're dealing with our stress in the same kinds of ways and it hasn't served us in the past, then what's happening is that we are getting results that are actually worse than they were originally because it's compounded over time. So the goal here is that we don't make the same mistakes over and over again, especially when God has had his hands on our lives. If he has taken you out of the darkness, don't you dare go back to where you were because it will be worse. If he's saved you from an abusive marriage, or if he's saved your child, or he's saved your health, or you've made it through some kind of a crisis, don't go back, because if you go back, it'll be worse tenfold. That's what the warning is here. This is one of those stories that's a lesson for us in life. So when we do something and we then realize that all we did was go back to where we were and now we're in a worse position, we know in that moment that we made that we made a bad decision. Do we not? Have you ever said, I knew I shouldn't have come back. I knew I shouldn't have turned left. I knew I shouldn't have answered that email. I knew that I shouldn't have answered that text message. I knew that I shouldn't have answered that phone call. I knew that it wasn't okay for me to just have a quick chat because now I'm in the same place, but worse. This is what happens. This is why we don't go back. Once we've been saved, once we've been healed, once we've been revived, once we've been recovered, once we've been restored, once we've been rebuilt, once we've been reborn, once we've been rewired, we don't go back to where we were, because if we do, it will be 10 times harder for us to get out. Because we lose our confidence in ourselves. We betray our own desire to be happy, healthy, and whole. We betray God's call on our life. It's betrayal all the way around. 360 degrees of betrayal. So when you are healed from something, you rise from it. You don't go back. You rip down the rearview mirror and you only look forward. Point number 2 was Jesus ascended after he finished his assignment. If you're not dead, you're not done. And then point number 3 was ascension requires letting go of lower things that don't serve you anymore, things that are, like I'm going to just say, below you, whether it's gossip, whether it's, the people who are deep in their addiction and you've risen above. We don't go back into the pits of hell unless we're going there to grab people and pull them up. But we don't go backwards into things that are low vibration, low energy. They're not in alignment with who we are. And they're below the standard that we have set for ourselves. So today, we're focusing on 3 more points. Point number 4 is Jesus kept his eyes on the Father. And this goes back to John 5, verse 19. The Son can do nothing by himself. He can do only what he sees his Father doing. So if we are to be on a path to be more like Jesus, then is it not important that we keep our eyes on God and we do everything in our power to be as God-like as we can, to be as much like Jesus as we can? Jesus modeled complete dependence on God. When God said, do this, he did it. Now, sometimes he dug his heels in a little bit. We know in the Garden of Gethsemane, for example, that he wasn't happy about his fate. And he asked God questions like, if this cup is not for me, take it from my hands. But he didn't say, I won't. I'm going to go do my thing instead. Explain yourself again. Prove yourself to be my God. No, 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 no. He just shared his pain. And so when we're thinking about who we are becoming as we ascend, it's important that we remind ourselves that if we want to be more like Jesus, if we want to ascend and be more godlike and be the best version that we can be of ourselves, then we need to do things like withdraw and pray, just like Jesus did. We need to do things like listen and then obey and wait. If we're not getting the answer that we want, that's because we want it on a timeline that he's not on. So we need to wait and we need to be patient and we need to have faith. And then we need to trust that everything is happening as it should. That God knows exactly what he's doing with our lives. Ascension isn't climbing your own ladder. It's following God's footsteps. If we climb a ladder, we want it to go like this. We want to go straight to the top. We just want to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like straight up. Vertical. We want to get there quick. And what God's saying is no, follow my footsteps, follow my lead, because your foot might slip off the rung and you're going to fall and it'll hurt twice as bad. Same idea. We follow God's lead. We don't decide how we're going to do things. We listen, we wait, and we're obedient. And it works every time. Many women are exhausted because they're climbing ladders Jesus never asked them to climb. How many of you feel exhausted? Put a heart in the comments if you feel exhausted. Put a heart in the comments if you feel tired. Put a heart in the comments if you feel like you're stretched in 1,000,000 ways. Put a heart in the comments if you're feeling overwhelmed. Put a heart in the comments if you're kind of done carrying everybody else's stuff. Put a heart in the comments if you every once in a while say to yourself, this is too much. Put a heart in the comments if you're ready for lighter, more aligned, more loving, more joyful, more peaceful life. Put a heart in the comments. I can promise you that most of the stuff that you're carrying, God didn't ask you to carry. I'm assuming that you've taken on all kinds of stuff that he didn't ask you to take on. And then what do? We get resentful. And then what do? We get upset. And then what do? We complain. And then what do? We cry. And then what do? We take it to the phone and we tell our friend all about all the things that other people want us to do for them and all the things that we're doing for other people and all of the things that aren't going well and all of the things that we're tired of and all of the family members who aren't pulling their weight and X, Y, and Z. You guys know exactly what I'm talking about. And God is sitting there listening to you saying, I never put this on you. This is all you. This was your choice. You did this. Yes, yes? Can we promise as of today, put today, that we're going to be discerning? This is why I talked so much about discernment last week. We are going to be discerning about the people that we serve, the people that we surround ourselves with, the things that we do, the relationships that we're in, and the yeses and the nos. If we are discerning about all of that, our lives will be in alignment with what Jesus wants for us. True story. Here's a question for you. Am I chasing something I want versus following God's lead? So for all of you gals out there, I'll just use this as an example. Are any of you singles chasing something that you want, although you know it's not what God wants for you? Is anybody here chasing something? Maybe you're chasing money. Maybe you're chasing wealth. But there's all kinds of other stuff in your life that you need to clean up first. And God is saying to you, you're missing the point here. You're actually chasing the wrong thing right now. What I'm asking you to do is to clean up your messes. What I'm asking you to do is get your heart right. What I'm asking you to do is get healthy. What I'm asking you to do is ask for forgiveness or forgive other people. Before I'm going to give you the money or the wealth or the abundance that you want, you got to get your heart positioned properly. Because as God moves, he wants people who are wealthy, who are kingdom wealthy, to be healthy and to be healed and to use their money properly. Now, we all know that money only amplifies who you already are. So money is not the source of all evil, because money used to be potatoes and money used to be corn. Money used to be mat for mat. Nobody would have ever said, oh, those potatoes are evil, right? It's not the money that's the problem. It's how we use it. And so he doesn't want to give a bunch of Christians a bunch of money that's going to turn them into people who are misaligned. Or he's not going to provide for us the relationship that we want if we can't hold it. The fastest path isn't always God's path. Sometimes he says, slow down, be discerning, clean up your messes, get your poop in a group, and then I will share with you what you want, but I'll give it to you tenfold. I'll give it to you and it will blow your socks off. But go and be obedient first. Go and clean up your messes first. I believe that so wholeheartedly, I can't even begin to talk about that. That's a whole other live. Okay, point number 5, be the hands, feet, mouth, and heart of Jesus. So we're talking about ascension. Well, the easy path to ascension, if you're somebody who's like, I want to know what to do right now. Okay, go and do this. Go and be the hands, the feet, the heart, and the mouth of Jesus. And you will ascend so fast your head will spin. Because that means that you're in complete alignment with Jesus. And if we're in complete alignment with Jesus, everything is going to come flooding in. God's goal isn't simply to bless us. His goal is to shape us. He wants us to be the feet, the hands, the mouth, the heart of Jesus. He's trying to mold us and help us get there. And we're resisting because we want to do things our way. He doesn't just want to say, you go, I'm just going to bless your mess. No, that's not what he does. He will not bless our mess. If that heart, thank you for the stars. And thank you, TikTok. We're at 6.6 thousand. Let's get 10,000 up in the hearts. Just do the hearts, you guys, because when you do the hearts, it like helps my algorithms, which matters. You guys, I've been coming live for almost a year. Can you believe that? It's crazy. No wonder I need a day. No wonder I need a break. Okay. God's goal is to help us be more like Jesus. That's why he gave us a human example. He's like, here's a person that you can be more like. Go be more like him. Here are some stories about who he was. Here are some stories about how he dealt with relationships and boundaries and illness and people who betrayed him and all of the things. So here's a guy that you can model yourself after. Now go be more like him. He wants us to love like Jesus. He wants us to forgive like Jesus. He wants us to lead like Jesus. He wants us to serve like Jesus. He wants us to trust others like Jesus. And he wants us to speak like Jesus. That's what he wants. And if you're looking for a fast track in life, if you're looking for a fast track in abundance, if you're looking for a fast track to God, just go be like Jesus. You can just be like, gonna be more like Jesus. Put that in your profile. Put that on your Instagram profile. Over here, working to be more like Jesus. You know what I'm saying? Not a bad one, actually. The greatest miracle isn't building a business. The greatest miracle isn't writing a book. The greatest miracle isn't leading thousands. The greatest miracle is being more like Jesus. Here's a question for you. This is a really good question. I asked this question about a month ago. You guys ready for it? Here it is. If somebody followed you around for a week, would they say, wow, this person walks like Jesus? Or would they see all the things that you don't want people to see. If somebody was at your hip for 7 days, living the life that you live in this moment, right now, this is for somebody, just something for you to think about. Maybe it's Jesus. Maybe Jesus dropped down beside you and said, I'm just going to walk with you for a week. I don't want you to do anything different. And if you do, I'll know. What would he see? And are you proud of that? Is the life that you're living a life that you're proud of? Hi, Renee. You guys, sorry, I haven't been looking at the comments because they go so fast. That's a really good question for you to ask yourself. How do you move? Do you move like Jesus moved? Or are you moving on your own terms? Because we get to change that right now. It's a good one, huh? If Jesus said, I want to hang out with you for a day, I'll be there in 30 seconds. Would you have to clean up your messes? Would you have to lie? Would you have to cover some things up? Would you have to cancel some appointments? Would you have to clear the pictures out of your phone? Like, you know what I'm saying? What would you be doing? It's a good one. Okay, and this is point number 6. Our calling is always upward. Hi, Renata. I love my moderators. Thanks, Uncommon Hosts. I love you guys. We've got Sarah, we've got Ash, we've got Shay, we've got Angelique, we've got Regan. Love you guys. You guys are amazing. Hope I didn't miss anybody. Tell me if I did. I don't think I did. Our calling is always upward. Philippians 3, verses 13 and 14. Okay, I'm just going to look this one up because I only have part of it and I want to make sure that I read the whole thing. But that's a good question, right? If Jesus was walking with you, what would he experience? Oh, I can think of a few things that I'd probably want to change. I'm not lying. I think all of us have things that we would want to change. If not, wow, you're perfect. Okay, Philippians 3, verses 13 and 14 go like this. Brothers and sisters, I do not consider myself yet to have taken hold of it, but one thing I do, forgetting what is behind and straining toward what is ahead, I press on toward the goal to win the prize for which God has called me heavenward in Jesus Christ. Amen. Straining forward. You guys, what does that tell you? The language is not easeful language. It's letting go of what's behind and straining forward with all of our heart, mind, and soul. Like pushing. Oh, it feels difficult, but we're moving forward because it matters. That's what this says. So this is why I always say, if you think it's going to be easy, you're wrong. But if it's simple, you'll get there. Because simple is very clear. Simple is all about the path is right there. I see it. I know what I got to do. It might not be easy, but it's simple. I just move forward. That's so good. Ascendant people stay teachable. They stay humble. They stay hungry. They stay surrendered. Their growth never ends. I've had people say to me, I'm good. No, I'm good. I'm happy with how things are right now. And I'm not sure that I've ever said that. I'm not even lying. I cannot remember the last time somebody said, how's your relationship? How's your business? How's your health? How's your spirituality? How's your anything? And me say, I think I'm good right now. I have never said that. It's just not in my language. Why? Because I'm always ascending. And I'm not saying that I'm all that in a bag of chips, but I am a growth mindset monster. Like, that's all I want to do, because I look at myself and all I see is a hot mess, right? And I know that I'm doing great things in the world, and I know that I'm actually in my calling, but I know that I have so much further to go. I have so many steps to take, before I'm there. And I believe it's why I'm still here. Because if I'm not dead, I'm not done. And I've got work to do. So no, I'm not good. No, I'm not fine. No. And when we say that, there's a problem. We're in denial, I think. Where have you stopped growing? The moment you think you've arrived, you've stopped ascending. The moment that you say, I'm good, you actually closed off the growth doors. If Jesus was walking with you and he said, I have something to share with you, I've got a little bit of growth that I think would be worthwhile for you, would you look at him and say, no, I'm good? Oh, all of a sudden we're open. Oh, okay. So you were good until I said that. Now you're not good. You guys, this is what he is saying to everybody all the time. He's just not right beside us saying it, but he is always saying, you are not perfect. You need to continue to walk toward God. You need to continue to forgive. You need to continue to position your heart properly. You need to continue to give it up for me. You need to continue to shed the layers of the human that you are, and you will do that till the day you die. You're not good, and you're not there yet. This is why ascension is so important. Jesus didn't simply ascend into heaven. He showed us what a life of continual surrender, obedience, and trust looks like. We were given him as an example. Ascension isn't reserved for just a few people. The journey upward is not measured by titles. It's not measured by influence or accomplishments. It is measured by the quiet transformation of the heart. Becoming more humble, becoming more faithful, becoming more obedient, and more like Jesus with each step. That's ascension. That's how we do it. As women of God, we are called to rise. We are called. In fact, I would dare to say that we are instructed to rise above fear, to rise above comparison and complacency, to rise above comfort, to rise above gossip. We are called to keep our eyes on God, just like in the story, trusting that every intuitive hit is an invitation to follow through and another step toward the calling that he prepared us for. One of the most common things that women say to me, this is probably one of the top 3 questions I get asked. One of them is, how are you so confident? That's one. Another one is, how do I know it's my calling? How do I know what my calling is? I get this all the time. And you know what my answer is? Listen to your intuition. And people will say, I don't know what it's not saying. And I'll say, because you're not listening. Because everybody has the voice of God in them. It's not for the select few. You're not listening. You're too busy jabber-jawing. You need to shut up and listen. If you really want the answer, that's how you get it. You get quiet. You get off social media. You get off your phone. You take a drive. You rent a cabin for 3 days. And you sit. That's how it will come to you. Why do you think Jesus went into the desert for 40 days and 40 nights? Because he was there to listen, pray, wait, seek answers, and then be obedient. That's why. And he didn't have cell phones and all the distractions that we have now. He just had a bunch of people pulling at his robes all the time. You were never created to simply survive. You were created to ascend. You were not born just to pay bills, solve problems, suffer heartbreak, or struggle, feel confused, carry burdens, and make it to the end of another week. You were created to know God. You were created to walk in purpose. You were created to leave a legacy. You were made for more. More faith, more courage, more obedience, more impact, more joy, more health, more wealth, more purpose, and more peace. You are made for more than where you are right now. But more doesn't happen by accident. More is found on the other side of your obedience. More is found every time you choose faith over fear. That's when you ascend. Every time you choose forgiveness over bitterness, that's when you ascend. Every time that you choose obedience over comfort, that's when you ascend. Every time you trust God when you can't see the outcome, you ascend. More is in our ascension. So how do we ascend? By surrendering. Remember, Jesus never called the disciples assuming that they would stay where they were. He said, rise up and follow me. He said, I'm calling you. See, Jesus, like this is so important. Like it's so simple, it blows my mind. Jesus called on the disciples so that we understand what a calling is. When there's a calling on your life, you were called by God. You were called by Jesus. You were called by your intuition to go do something. And then we see the examples of how he says, get up and follow me. And so they get up and they leave their boats and they leave their families and they leave their careers and they followed him. And it wasn't easy, but it was simple. Your calling is when you hear so strongly the voice inside of your heart that says, this is what you are to do now, and you must do it. That's your calling. That's why these examples are here. I mean, they're here because we need these examples. We really complicate calling. We really do. Ascension is always an upward journey. Write that down. Ascension is always an upward journey. It's never going down. It's never going backward. It's always going upward. It may not always be comfortable. It will always be worth it. Don't settle for the version of yourself that fear has created. How many of you have lived in fear, or you're living in fear now, and you're allowing this version of yourself to make decisions, and not the one who listens to her intuition and moves based on that? You were wired in the womb for something. It's not a secret. You're just not listening. Rise into the woman that God has already called you to become. Don't settle for average when heaven has called you to extraordinary. Don't settle for comfort when God is inviting you into courage. Don't settle for the familiar when God is preparing the miraculous. Don't settle for yesterday's victories, meaning you did something 20 years ago and you're still talking about it, when God has already prepared tomorrow's assignment. It could be that you got married 15 or 10 years ago and the guy broke up with you or he passed away. Don't settle for last year's victories. Yes, those things are experiences that you had, but what he's saying is, be prepared for tomorrow's assignment. Be focusing more on what's coming and not on what you lost or not on what's broken your heart. No matter the age or your circumstance, there is still more in you. More gifts to uncover. More mountains to climb so you have a better view. More lives to influence. More women to encourage. More of Jesus to reflect. You have not peaked, sister. You have not missed your moment. You are not too old, it is not too late, and you are not disqualified. God is not finished with you. Your greatest days are still ahead of you, so keep climbing, baby. Keep surrendering. Keep trusting, keep becoming, keep rising back up, keep working, keep following Jesus. Every faithful step is another step upward. Remember, ascension is only upward. So, my uncommon woman, you go and you ascend. Rise higher. Walk bolder. Love deeper. Trust yourself more. Never stop moving towards your calling. Never stop moving towards your calling. Because heaven isn't where you are. Heaven is calling you higher. Where you are right now, my beautiful one, is not heaven. I just got goosebumps. You are not there yet. You might have a great life. You might be in a great relationship. You might be loving your work. You might, like, I love my life, but this is not heaven. I don't even have the faintest clue what heaven is like. I'm not there yet. and neither are you. We are not there yet. So don't you dare stay where you are. I hope that when I see you on Thursday, that you've grown. I hope that when I come to you on Thursday, that you've got something to report, that you have ascended, that you've taken a step, because this is how we do it. And for the women in my world who struggle to do it alone, that's what my Rose Gold Leadership Space is about. It's about ascending. A rose gold woman is a woman who understands that she's extraordinary. We have gold and then we have rose gold. Rose gold is extraordinary. It's feminine, it's beautiful, it's unique, it's soft and strong, it's bold. Some of you are walking around like a gold band, but you know that you're made for more. You know that you want to be rose gold. You know that you want to stand out in the crowd. You know that maybe you're a little bit too far in your masculine and you want to have a little bit of that pink hue. You're ready to drop the edges and soften. If you go to romymarlowe.com, this is very exciting. If you go to romymarlowe.com, on my homepage, there's a tab or a flyer that says Rose Gold Leadership. Hit that, read all about it, and fill out the form. And let's go. You can apply to be in my Rose Gold Leadership one-on-one mastermind space. It's the space where women ascend. We do not go backward in that space. And if somebody's not willing to go up, we don't work together. So that's something that you can do. If you're stuck, if you're feeling stuck, you're not a tree, you're not stuck, but if you're feeling stuck, if you're feeling like maybe you're afraid, maybe you're afraid of what's coming, maybe you're afraid of moving out of whatever it is that you're feeling because it's comfortable there and it honors the person that you're feeling for, or it honors your past. But in that space, you're not ascending. Let's do it. An Uncommon Woman Sisterhood is where you can get in community with me. I pour into you twice a month. We have something really amazing coming in August. It's a sisterhood of women only. It's a friendship circle. It's a place where women meet friends. It's a place where women actually feel seen and accepted and heard and loved. And one of the biggest pieces of feedback that we're getting about this space is it's the space that women needed, because they needed friends. They needed real friends with real connection. So go to romymarlowe.com for Rose Gold Leadership or Uncommon Woman Sisterhood. You guys, thank you so much for being here. I love you, Renee. Okay, I'm looking at the comments. I have lived in fear most of my life. No more, sis. We're done with that. I love all of you. Godly wisdom. Oh, you're so sweet. Let's go. Let's do it. Thank you to my Uncommon hosts. You guys are incredible. Thank you so much for supporting. You guys, I promise I'm going to put this up later and I'm going to delete like the first 15 minutes because what a hot mess that was. But I got into it. Okay, so just don't forget that tomorrow we're going to take a little bridge break. We're going to take a day and come back and watch the replay or do the homework. And the homework, remember the homework is if Jesus was to stand beside me or if somebody was to walk with me for a week, not just a day, but for a whole week, what would they see? That's your homework. That's a good one. Feel free to send me a message. Let me know. Let me know how it's going. Go to Rose Gold Leadership. Send me a message and say what they would be seeing wouldn't be good. We got to work on it. I'm here for you. I'm here to support you. This is what I do. I've been doing it for 11 years. You guys, I love you so much. Make sure you share this out. Tag people in it. Thank you so much for being here. I love you. I love that all my uncommon people are here. You can buy this hat at my link tree. What else? I think that's it. And there are hats on my Romy Marlowe website as well. We have a little store there, and this all my swag's going to go up there now. We're getting rolling. We're getting rolling. It's taking a bit. Okay, I'll see you guys on Thursday at noon. Okay? Have a great day. Love you. Bye. Thank you to my host. Thank you, everybody, for joining. See you.